G'day viewers, welcome to another super cool repair video by the Goat Shed. We're working on a Gottlieb high hand today from 1973. But firstly, today is Wednesday the 12th of April 2023 and it's 16 degrees Celsius outside, which is just under 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, we've mentioned in other videos about this high hand before. We've had a new cabinet made for it. And just yesterday, the owner delivered a refurbished playfield. Now, here it is here. We're going to have a little look at this playfield, so we get a bit of a view of it. So it's actually had an overlay made for it. Now, it looks pretty good. The first attempt at the overlay, some of the colours were not quite right, and probably to some traditionalists, the colours may still not be 100%, but this playfield looks absolutely beautiful now. It's all been clear coated and it's ready to rock and roll. So we've got to put all new parts have been purchased for it. So white posts, drop targets, well, the single pop bumper body cap, you name it, it's all new. And mechanically we'll be putting in flipper kits and stuff like that. So what we've decided to do, let's just have a little bit of a better look at this. And I'll just try and pan back here. There you go. Sorry about the shadows and so on. It's only 8:13 in the morning here in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. So feast your eyes on this. Here it is from this angle. And there's all the cards. So we've got new lamp sockets for it, of course. We just found a bit of delamination down here. We've just put a bit of wood glue on that and fixing it. Would have been great if we could have had a new base made, but you know, that wasn't the case. And we've got the machine itself up here. Now, yesterday we started doing a bit of troubleshooting on it. We haven't got the front door for it, or the mechs, or the plug, or anything. So what we thought we'd do, we'd pop the motorboard in and plug the game in and see if we could get it to reset. Now, one of the first things we found was, well, I mentioned we didn't have any plugs. So what we've had to do, we've had to jumper the slam switch out. Now, the schematic told us that it was a white and a slate wire, which generally top left and bottom right are always the case. I have this green jumper in my hand to start as the replay button, which is orange and brown. But what we were finding, we weren't getting a full cycle of the motor. Not consistently anyway, and strange things were happening. So the motor would stop short, and of course that means the switches are in the wrong position. So we put something on our Facebook page the other day where we'd actually clear coated the bottom of the motorboard, but that came up really nicely and we cleaned all the relays. But what we've now found, that motor 1C, which is the run out switch, and there it is there, that has a spinning pad on it. It's loose and spinning.
One of the worst ones to see.
Yeah, that's really, really bad, that. So, you know, therefore,
I might replace the whole switch, I think.
We're going to try and replace that switch if we've got one, or we'll repair it, one or the other. Now, something, while Graham's just unsoldering that and getting that out, I noticed in some of our videos, I recently got a new Samsung S22 Ultra, I think it's called, which is really good. It's got the 3 cameras and so on, and 2 other apertures for videos and God knows what. Sometimes when Graham's talking, the sound you can't hear, and I've got to repeat what he said. So I've got on order an omnidirectional microphone, so hopefully that'll help us out. So this machine's got one of those interlocking relays, that V relay there. They're always a lot of fun. You've always got to check. They can get residual magnetism in them on the bottom part, on the bottom one. And what that often does, what that can do for you, that causes them to stick and everything like that. And I was shown a really good way to fix those, and you know, one day we'll do a video on that. Tim Meehan from Seattle, who's a very experienced electromechanical guy, told us about a fix that they used to do in the field, I think even, or they had them ready to go back in the day in the 70s when they were repairing these things. And it's a great tip. It's about reshaping the armature and taking a lot of meat off it. That helps reduce the magnetism. So you can see here, when we cleaned this board up, that score motor was a lot worse than that. It's not perfect, but short of pulling that out, this, which you know we really didn't want to do, you would have some problems. Now another thing, just to remind people, this hole here in the score motor, top of the score motor, is to align with screws. So if we wanted to take the score motor out of the frame, what we would have to do, we would have to take the motor out and undo those screws so that the motor falls away from the frame. So the motor is screwed onto the bottom of this frame there, and that's how they do it. That's what those holes are for. I'll just see if I can line up a screw. I'm not sure if I can or can't. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's a screw down in there. Look, I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but there's a screw head down in there now. So that's what you're looking for. So let's see what we're doing with this switch. So this is the dog carrier, and this is the dog. Now the dog carrier is the two holes there the switch stack goes through. These dogs themselves come out. Now they can get worn on the inside here where they run on the cam. You can sort of see where that one's been running. I've just used the Dremel on that and cleaned that up a little bit, but you can get them grooved and really badly worn, and they stick on the edge of the cam, so you've got to watch out for that. Now also, this dog carrier was a little bit bent. The lugs were a bit bent. It's been straightened up. It's a lot better now. No need to replace it, but remember this one, because it's stack one, it goes in the short throw position. The only one that goes in the long throw position, which is here, you'll see the difference, is 2C, and it comes level with the dog carrier, but we don't want it there. We want it here. So when we put it back in, we're going to put it in there. Now the reason that's to do with timing, because 2C is pulsed off the second tooth of cam 1A. Now we've spoken about this in other videos, but just to remind you about that, because it's quite important. If you put them in the wrong way, you'll cause all sorts of trouble. One of the main problems people have when 2C is in the short position like this is that a classic symptom is it will subtract 2 credits. Say you had 8 replays on there, it'll subtract 2, so it'll go down to 6. We found that out one day the hard way. Took us a while to figure it out, but we figured it out, and that was on a spinner cart. We were at a guy's house, and we noticed that. So we've pretty much getting ready to put this back in the game now and test it. Graham's just finalising all that now over there. I get the easy work. I just get to do the video. Now we actually repaired that switch. We soldered the back of it. The simple reason is you've got some lugs that point up and some lugs that point down. And of course the lug we wanted was a lug that pointed up, and all we could find was one that pointed down. So we've soldered it. So we cleaned the switch. There was nothing wrong with the switch itself. It had simply come loose in the switchblade where they're pressed in. They just wear down. So just cleaning it up and a drop of solder on the back, it'll be as good as new. Now I did that originally. The first time I ever saw a loose or spinning switch pad was on my own personal machine in Aquarius. One of the one of the targets, you know, they've got those, what do you call those targets? Which was a bullseye target. It wouldn't register, it was the number 3. And I just thought, oh yeah, there's a wire off it or something like that. And anyway, what I found was that, yeah, this particular thing was pretty bad. It was loose as. And that must be 4 years ago, and I play my Aquarius pretty well every day, and I've never had another problem with it, so it is a good fix. Yes, it would be better if we could replace the entire switch but with a new one, but by the time we order them and get them here, and it costs a lot of money, so there you go, that's all done. So in a moment we'll put that dog carrier back on. He's just putting the insulators back on, and always be careful when you pull these apart. You've got the insulators, and it looks like we've got one insulator left to go.
Yeah, one at a dag on it.
And we've got the bit of fish paper that segregates the switches. Not segregates it really. So one switch can't touch another. That's this fish paper here. We once had a machine here which was a hot shot, and it had on the score motor, someone had cleaned the score motor with something, God knows what. Of course the owner didn't admit to it, but we believe it was him. With something, and it's disintegrated all those. Yeah, so what we had to do was go through, and we didn't have any new fish paper. I think we since have acquired some, but we had to replace as many of those as we could and double check that the switches weren't touching, and that was mainly on the top cam on like 1C and 2C and all the top edge of the cam. So some of the things that you've got to do. Alright, well he's happily putting that back together. And we're not far off looking like we're getting ready to test this. So that's all reassembled. Now when we spin the score motor manually, it hopefully should go home each time. Look at that. So what was happening before, it would just stop. Dead stop. And it wouldn't get to the home position. Now switch 1C, the motor run switch, is like an assurance switch. It assures that the motor gets to its home position. And now it happily is. So we're good to go with that now. So yeah, there's a little handy little hint for you. Right, now we've got the score motor running right. We were having a problem with the reset relay down here wasn't pulling in. Now that's the V relay. So now we should be able to start the game, and we'll show you why that wasn't pulling in. Okay, I'll just get Graham to hit the start button. And there you go, you heard the scorers pull in, and that's all good. So let me show you what the problem was, why that wouldn't pull in. So here it is. Here's the V relay. There's two coils on that relay. One's called V, and the other's a bit lower. It's called VR, and the VR one is the actual reset one. This the V pulls in, and then VR and VR holds on, and then VR releases. So if you have a look here, we start over here and we come over here to a switch on the S relay, which has a green and yellow and runs on the that'll be red white, I guess, up here. Yep, red white bus. So red white coming to here, and yellow blue. Whoops, wrong one. My apologies. Green and yellow comes off red white. So red white through a switch on the S to green and yellow, through motor 2C, and that'll fire the V relay. Now if you look closely here, there's another path which is connecting the total play meter and the reset ball count unit and the subtract replay unit. Now, I hadn't noticed at first, but they all weren't operating either. And if I had looked, I would have saw that. So what the problem actually was the green and yellow wire on the S relay on the switch was barely touching. It was touching, but it just wasn't making correctly. Once we readjusted that, bang, the whole shebang all works. The V relay pulled in, the total play meter increments, the reset ball count unit pulls in, and the subtract replay pulls in. So that's what was wrong with it. So we've just got multiple jobs going on here at the moment. Well, I've been working on high hand. Graham's doing stencils for target pool. He's just doing the back box. He's laying down the actual stencil now. He's already done a little bit of painting here, which I'm going to show you. So there's target pool. Done the red on both sides now. It's come up rather nice. So we've got blue to do on that, and the same with the machine you can see just over the other side here, which happens to be fast draw. So there's the neck. You can see the blue that's going on there on the neck. There's the bottom part of fast draw, and we've also done the red on the side of the cabinet. So plenty happening here at the moment. It's been quite sunny for the last few days, so he'll have the blue done on both these hopefully by the end of the week, and then he can do the clear coat. Now we've already shown you how we do this, so there's a video on clear coating Bowling Queen and making stencils for it. These are bought stencils. These are the ones from the Pinball Pimp. So where people have card games or any art that's a little bit tricky, we'll get them to buy the stencil. Having said that, Graham's quite good at freehand, so he could have probably done the target pool one quite easily, but the owner wanted to buy the stencil, and that's okay by us. He's got that, and we'll work with it. So as you can see, we've got a lot going on, and there's still more to do. But high hand has been here a while, and the longest part was getting the playfield overlay done. And that's done, and we'll do a whole video on what we do there and a little bit more troubleshooting in the future. We're hoping to get the front door probably, or the mech, next week. We've got a new front door. Well, I think it's been re-chromed, it's not brand new. So just a bit of housekeeping for those of you that watch our channel. We're hoping to be able to bring you some more great videos in the coming weeks. We have a number of things happening here, as everyone's probably aware. And just a reminder that if you want to join our Facebook group, which is really a good idea, it's called the Goat Shed EM Pinball Repair Specialists. That's on Facebook. But to join, you must answer the questions that are asked. We simply ask you 3 questions. One of those questions is, what's your favourite EM pinball machine? The second question is, where do you live? You can tell us either the country or the state you live in or the town, whatever you're comfortable with. And do you agree to the rules from the administrators? Now, we probably get around 30 to 40 applicants a week, sometimes more. And sadly, we don't let a lot of people in simply because they don't answer the questions. And it's not hard to do, so please make sure you do that. Now, on this channel, there's also room for comment. Now, we're very, very happy for you to give us comments, good or bad. Ask us questions, but we would prefer that you leave any technical questions for the Facebook page. Now, the main reason for this is that there's time difference between the countries for a start. We get a lot of people from America and the UK, Canada, etc., and Europe asking us things. But if you're on our Facebook page, they'll get answered much quicker. There's other people besides ourselves that are more than capable of answering the questions. And you'll generally get the answers to what you're looking for, and we'll help you get your pinball machine going. So yeah, that would be appreciated. Now, the other thing we appreciate is if you give us the thumbs up on our videos. The more likes we get, the more people get to see and hear about our videos. And if you'd be kind enough to subscribe to our channel, that would be really, really good too. We'd much appreciate that. And also, we're looking for suggestions on any videos specifically that people want. A lot of people say about schematics, and we don't have the schematic every time for every game we're working on. So sometimes that's a bit awkward. But if we do, and we can show you something we fixed, like we just did a moment ago with the V relay, we'll do it. So once again, we thank you for viewing our channel, and we hope that you are getting some benefit out of it. We don't know how many people get benefit out of this we do have statistics available to us, but a lot of people just look at the video and they don't like it and they don't reply or anything like that. Well, that's fine too, but it really doesn't sort of help us a lot. So if you'd be kind enough to do that. Okay. All right, in the meantime, this is only a short video today. So this has been another Goat Shed presentation.